Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Motivational Monday. My name is Kira. I'm your host, and I'm back in my normal surroundings, my normal setting, the background that we're used to. Am I ecstatic about it? No, because it means that when I went to the gym this morning, it was 31 degrees, and I walked my dogs with frost all over the ground instead of overlooking the ocean in Puerto Rico. But it is what it is, and such is life. And either way, at the end of it all, I'm grateful to be here with you. I'm happy that we get to share yet another Monday together. And yeah, I'm actually really excited. So I was sitting down and I was like, okay, what am I going to do for this part of our season? And I was like, what are we going to do for February? Do I want to do a series for February? And I kind of just let things percolate. And I'm not sure where it came in, but I was like, okay, we're going to do the healing power of things. So I know we've talked a lot about doing like the spirituality of things. This is not that. This is more of like the healing power of music, the healing power of laughter, the healing power of water, which that'll be a little bit spiritual. And I don't have the exact schedule written out, but each week is going to be the healing power of something really cool. Today, we are doing the healing power of music, which I am really, really excited about because last week I played you all my Taino songs and I let you all know that I am an Indigenous songkeeper, which is near and dear to my heart and my bloodline and everything that matters to me. So with that, it just started happening that I was like, oh, okay, we are going to do the healing power of music. And this might have started because I saw an article, and I'll tell you about the article and I'll tell you about some of the science in just a moment. But there are some real life stories and real life situations that I've been through that show me that music is a universal language. I personally feel like music is the one thing that can connect all of us. And it doesn't matter the language or your age or your race or your gender or anything. Music just connects us and ties us all. And it's been really interesting because I've been getting more into music. I didn't grow up musically inclined. My parents weren't super musical, so I didn't have that exposure. But as I've grown into myself as an individual, I have experienced and explored my own music. I've seen the connection of music. My dog is barking at the door to get in. We're just going to see if he stops the barking. I got my dogs back. I'm so excited. But before we even dive in, before I tell you some stories and before we dive into some science, I'm curious, what's a song that you're loving right now? Or there are a couple of questions. You can answer whichever one. What's a song that you're loving right now? What's like an anthem for your life? Or what's a song that immediately brings you joy, maybe from your childhood or like brings back good memories? And I feel like that's one of the things with music is sensory experiences, whether it's a smell or a sound or a taste, it can bring us back to the past and it can be a kind of time machine, right? It can be something that transports us to a very, very, very specific and exact moment. And there's not a lot in the world that necessarily does that, but music is such a huge tool for that. And this just came to my mind. It's ridiculous. But my dad had the Now CDs, right? Where it accumulated all of like the top songs for the year. And he used to play them while he was working out. And I remember me and my brother, whenever Holla Back Girl by Gwen Stefani came on, we would be in the basement dancing. My dad would be working out, the little boombox would be playing the music. And it was such just like a cute little family moment. And one of the memories that I do have with my dad, because he wasn't really in my life that much. So anytime I listen to Holla Back Girl, it's an annoying song, but anytime I listen to it, it brings me back and it brings me a little bit of joy. Cute. Sunday Best was my anthem all last winter. The song that's in my head is I mean, there are a few songs. I'm the type of person who gets obsessed with a song or who gets obsessed with an album, and I just need to listen to it over and over and over and over and over until it becomes second nature. And I also just decided that I need a record player because I listen to music the way that it was created and produced from top to bottom, beginning to end. I don't shuffle it. I don't pick out a song. Like I'll just listen to albums over and over and over. So I've fallen in love with Leon Bridges' new album, Leon. The song that I kept playing over and over in Puerto Rico was Te Necesito Everywhere. And it's I Need You Everywhere. Is it Salman Keita? Let's see. Te necesito everywhere. Yeah, Salmon Beta. Salmon Beta. The theme song from Charlie Brown. Oh, you guys are dropping YouTube links. I love this. It was on the radio every morning when I was growing up. The radio station used it to introduce the daily trivia question. How amazing. It's the little things like that. Dancing Queen reminds me of my mom cleaning on Saturdays. Christopher, I love that you said that. Bad Bunny's new album brings immediate smiles because that's one of the stories I'm going to share during today's session. Thank you, Alexandra. I used to be a bad singer, and then I started singing more and more and more. And thank goodness now I'm becoming a better singer, but I felt like my vocal cords changing. I felt the way that my mouth moved changing. And when you do take on, like when you learn a different language, when you start speaking or singing, all of that changes and different noises come from different parts of you. It's really interesting. Ooh, SZA's Control album. I love it. So the one song that's in my head is Lose Control by Teddy Swims, and I've loved Teddy Swims for like 4 years. And that song I had on repeat, not right now. That was like over the summer. I had that song on repeat over and over and over. And his I've Tried Everything But Therapy album on repeat over and over and over and over. Ask if you guys don't know about Tiny Desk, and then we'll get into the actual stories and the science. Tiny Desk is such a way to hear the raw truth of an artist in an unproduced setting. So a lot of the times when you go to concerts, there's a lot of production, there are a lot of layovers, sometimes they're not even singing their songs, so you don't know the actual true quality of an artist's voice, of the band, the chemistry of the band. There's just so much. So Tiny Desk, they literally perform behind a tiny desk, and it's an unproduced uh setting essentially. So they have all of the microphones and they have the instruments plugged in, but they're not editing anything. So you're getting the real raw vocals and chemistry of the band and the artists themselves, and it is amazing. So if you don't know what Tiny Desk is, I would suggest looking up your favorite artists and seeing if they have that. SZA has one, I'm pretty sure. But Mac Miller did one, and it was about 2 months before Mac Miller passed, and you could see the pain in him. And he did the song 2009, and then my favorite artist did the song 2009 as a surprise encore at a storytelling concert that they did back in September in Charlotte. And I was literally like, I just had chills in every layer of my body. I was like stunned and starstruck and just blown away because my favorite artist was singing this song, and it was just amazing. So all of that being said, I have a couple of stories about how music is such a connector and such a universal language. A lot of people think that I'm this world traveler. I travel the world, but only to places where my heritage comes from, at least at this point. So I've only been to Italy and I've only been to Puerto Rico. And I have a story from Italy and I have a story from Puerto Rico. I've been all around the country and all around Italy and all around Puerto Rico, but I haven't been elsewhere. So there was this one time that we were in Saturnia. And Saturnia is one of the oldest cities in Italy. And we booked this cute little Airbnb, and we're going to these healing springs and these healing waters. And me and my partner at the time, we were just like always so conversational. I love talking to people. I love building relationships. And the gentleman who owned it, he lived underneath, and he invited us over, and we had just eaten dinner, and we went over and he made homemade focaccia, and he brought out his wine, and we were sitting there, and we couldn't even speak the same language. Like, he spoke only Italian, we spoke only English, so we were just using Google Translate to communicate back and forth and to hear the stories. And at one point he gets this huge smile on his face, and he's so excited and he's so lit up. And he goes to, it might have been a record player, or maybe it was just like a music box. And he puts on music, and it's American music. This man does not speak English, like not a single lick of English. And he's playing American songs and he's dancing and he's so happy and he's so proud and he's so connected to the music, not just because we were there as Americans, but just because he loves the songs. Even if he doesn't know what it means, there's something inside of him that loves the music and wants to listen to it and wants to be a part of it and wants to share it. So we all danced and we all hung out and we had a great time. And it was just really amazing to see how, regardless of language, music connects people. And that brings me into my Puerto Rican story of Bad Bunny's new album. So Bad Bunny just released a new album. His new album has 5 of the top 10 songs globally right now, which is unbelievable. He is the 14th, or was, I'll check now, but at least on Spotify, he was the 14th top artist globally, above Taylor Swift, above Beyonce, and he sells out tours worldwide where he only sings in Spanish. He does not sing in English. He's in like Turkey, selling out stadiums in Turkey where people have no idea what he's saying, but they feel the music, they feel the passion, they feel the craft, and he's a global sensation bringing music that not even everyone can listen to. So let's see where Bad Bunny is on the list now, because last time I checked was a couple weeks ago. He's 5th in the world right now. He's 5th globally right now. And just as like a side note, Bruno Mars is always number 1. And he's also a Puerto Rican man, which I love too. So I'm triple checking on Bruno Mars. Yeah, he's first in the world. So when I was going to the island, I knew that one of the experiences that I was going to have was that I was going to be able to sit there and be on the beach and everyone was going to be playing Bad Bunny's new album and people were going to be dancing and people were going to be vibing and it was going to be amazing. And there was a day where I was on the beach and then I was near this like group of like 5 or 6 like straight up Puerto Ricans and they started playing Bad Bunny's album maybe an hour after I got there. And it was just everything that I knew that I was going to experience happening right then and there. And his album takes like old instruments and old songs and reworks them and makes them modern. He also brought in young Puerto Rican artists and had them collab on this album. So he took his whole entire culture and he put it into an album that made him 5th in the world, where he has 5 songs that are in the top 10 songs globally, where he took his culture and he took his roots and he infused it with all of him. And it is hitting people in the most profound and amazing ways. You can hear it in the car when you're driving, you can hear it in the restaurants when you're eating dinner, but it's not just on the island, it's all over the world. And that's the power of music. So, with that, there's actual science to the healing powers of music in general. And I need some water. If you guys haven't drank water today, maybe it's time to. If any of you like scientific documents, I love reading scientific documents. They are not for the faint of heart. It is a bunch of scientific gibberish. My brain just enjoys it. I love my brain to be a little challenged. But I'm going to drop this link in here for those of you who might enjoy reading scientific documents. So there's a whole study that was done on cancer cells and music. Now, they did Western piano, Western violin, and Turkish classical music. And what happens is they would play the music for 40 minutes. They had a test group that didn't get any music. They had another group that listened to the music for only one session of 40 minutes. And then they had another group that listened to the music, I believe, for 40 minutes and then an hour break and then another 40 minutes. And what they found was that obviously the test group is just a test group. They don't do anything with that. But the people who had listened to only one session of all the types of music, Turkish classical, Western violin, and Western piano classical, there wasn't any significant shift. But the group that listened to the music 2 or more sessions had a significant decrease in the viability of cancer cells. So that means that the cancer cells were no longer alive and active in their body. Not all of them, but they saw a significant decrease in the number of alive and active cancer cells in the body. There wasn't a significant shift with listening to the music once, but there was a significant decrease with listening to the music twice or more. So to me, as the type of person who repeats music over and over, there's a benefit to your brain becoming accustomed to the healing power of music in general. So the scientific document goes even deeper into that, but that's something that is really profound. They say that box music as well reduces the basically the viability and proliferation of cancer cells as well. A lot of classical music, Mozart, Bach, all of that significantly reduces cancer cells in the body. So that's a really extreme example, of course, but cancer is running rampant in our world and it's unfortunate. And if there's anything that we can do to help ourselves through that, I'm gonna give you guys all of that and give you the support. So, beyond that, music is also known to help regulate emotions and enhance cognitive function. So, there is such a thing as music therapy, and it's where they use music to address physical, emotion, and cognitive functions to address the needs of patients to facilitate their healing and improve their quality of life. So it factors into mood regulation, music. And we talked about this. If you guys remember, we talked about daily dose of happiness, your happiness hormones. So music triggers the release of dopamine, which elevates mood and combats depression. And this can significantly reduce the symptoms of anxiety and depression. And I would be careful about the music that you're listening to. Like if you're listening to music that's talking about death and drugs and popping pills and all this crazy stuff, there's a high likelihood that that's actually going to have an adverse effect to you. This is a lot regarding classical music and things along those lines. So I would just be careful about the type of music you're choosing as well, because it's not music overall as a definite function, you know? But music can also enhance memory and cognitive function, where it can activate the areas of your brain that are used for memory. It's beneficial for Alzheimer's and dementia, and it's also really helpful for language development. So I just started learning Spanish again today, and I'm going to figure out which music is good for that, and I'm going to play that while I'm learning my Spanish. It's also really good for pain management. So music has been found to reduce the perception, listen to this, the perception of pain in medical settings. Stress reduction and relaxation. It can also calm music can lower your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your cortisol levels. So if you're stressed out, if you're overworked, if you're feeling burnt out, start bringing music into your practice. And that's what I said when I was doing that huge project back in December and January, and I was like at an all-time high. I was blasting music and it was making it a lot easier. And then I know we've been talking a lot about happiness and joy in our Being Human First series, which we have our next session next week for our Being Human First series. And I'll get that link dropped in the chat here. But what you can do to create joy, joy is a sustainable feeling. And happiness is fleeting. Joy is something that you can experience in the middle of disaster or in the middle of just enjoying your day to day life. And with that, what happens is we can actually create the conditions for joy. So I've got specific albums like East Forest Possible, East Forest Still Possible, Trevor Hall, Threads. These three albums I can put on at any time of any day, and they will bring me into a state of peace and a state of relaxation. I like to listen to them in the morning. I like to listen to them at night. I also like to listen to them if I'm stressed out during the day and I just need to chill out. And they bring that feeling of joy for me. They reset something inside me so that I feel peace and so that I feel good and so that I feel whole. So with that, that's really important to also remember, because we can take responsibility for our lives. We can take responsibility for our healing. We can take responsibility for all of our everything that we're going through. And obviously, like sometimes it's not as easy, but there are times where you can be like, okay, there's a song that I can listen to and it's going to help me feel a little bit better and it's going to connect me to something happy and I'm going to have a little bit of a better day. And sometimes it's just as simple as that. There's a lot of science. There are a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of resources that dive even deeper into the healing power of music. And like, I would have loved to play a YouTube video for you, but a lot of them were like 20 to 40 minutes long, and we only have about 20-ish minutes here. But if this is something that intrigues you, and if you're like, ooh, I really like this conversation, I'm curious to know more, you can start researching. Like, literally, you can type in the healing power of music, and you will find so much that dives even deeper into all of it. So, those are my stories, and that's the science of the healing powers of music. It has phenomenal effects on us, and it's really beneficial in just helping us regulate and get grounded and get focused, and it's more subconscious too. It's more than just what we think. It's improving all the functions of our body. My wife has been playing a CD all day yesterday called El Yunque. It played sounds from the rainforest, particularly the koki. The koki are my favorite sound, like hands down, favorite sound. Send me a picture of the CD, please. So that's it. That's it for our Motivational Monday, talking about the healing power of music. Next week, I believe we're going to be doing the healing power of dancing, just following in tune with the healing power of music and what that does in our bodies, what that does in our minds, and then maybe some stories as well. If there's a song that you'd like to share with everyone, you're welcome to drop it in the chat. And yeah, that's it. I hope that this week you become more aware of the music that you're listening to. I hope that you become more aware of yourself and the way that you feel and the way that you can use music as a tool to support you in your day-to-day life and your day-to-day functioning. And if anything, maybe you're just already a crazy music lover and you're like, this makes sense and it's why I love music so much. So, thank you so much, everyone. Have the most beautiful Monday, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.